Let me tell you about this guy.
I'll tell you about this fucker right here.
Yeah.
So, Mike.
Do we start all our episodes like that? So Brandon, so Mike.
So, Mike.
It seems like it.
So, Brandon.
So mud magic.
So, mud magic. That's what you concocted for me.
Yeah. I might have been a little heavy-handed,
That's okay.
but I thought it was time for you to try it.
I think you told the viewers before in one of our earlier episodes, but
Yeah.
why don't you remind me, what is this?
So mud magic is hot chocolate, bourbon, and creamer.
Okay. Any type of creamer, or you use?
Oh, this one I use coconut creamer.
Okay.
Coconut flavored, coconut cream, not like coconut milk.
Okay. All right. So coconut flavored coffee creamer.
Yep.
Okay.
So for you, I think this is one of the things that throws you off because you like your hot chocolate with milk and not with water.
Yeah.
All
like
right,
a normal person.
No, water is the normal person.
No, it's not.
It is.
No.
Yep.
I think it says on the bag, better with milk.
It might be better with milk, but people use water because it's
they're
easier.
Insane.
It's easier to boil water. There's no, tea kettles for milk.
Well, it can be. It doesn't specify on the box. Yeah, makes it more creamy.
So
you prepared this concoction.
It's delicious.
So you came up with this yourself.
I did.
I'm assuming.
I invented this.
You invented this mud magic drink.
Yeah. So I use coconut creamer, so I call it tropical mud magic.
Okay.
Regular creamer or vanilla cream would be regular mud magic.
Okay, got it.
So you're pasty white, probably not very tropical, and that's partly part of the problem. But good old
Might be.
redneck Southern boy thought you'd like your bourbon.
So that's a good way to start this, I think. So you created this, right? You slaved away recipe after recipe trying to nail this down, and somehow you ended up here. And I would give you that much credit, but I feel like this was a drunken stupor and was like, hey, know what I made?
This was a cold evening in South Carolina when I first moved out there, living in a temporary lodging for a month, and had nothing better to do. I had some hot chocolate, I had some bourbon, and I was cold. So I was like, I'm throwing this shit together and see what happens.
Gotcha. Well, it's good. But I think that kind of leads way into creativity, right? So I think that Gen Z kind of being the, obviously Gen X is in it. Actually, in some companies, they're kind of helping lead it in a way, right? The millennials are in it, but obviously a little bit older. I think how, I would say like you guys or millennials were kind of that like.
You're saying in it. What is it that we're talking about?
I'm getting there. Okay? I'm building up the suspense. Sorry, I have a long drawn out way of making this work. Maybe if I used AI to come up with my speech, it would be better. That's the it.
Have you considered a career in political journalism where you can make a 15-minute question to get everything out there so they can have a 5-second answer?
Yeah, 5-second answer.
That you're going to interrupt.
So AI is what I'm talking about, right? I should have used ChatGPT to come up with my statement. My point in all of this is that I feel like Gen Z is kind of in that same state as previous generations with like the cell phone or portable computers, right? Some people may think less of this. I don't. I think that Gen Z is kind of at that point to where like we saw really without AI, or we're about to see with. And I think that we're going to be one of the first generations that is actually like utilizing it as it's intended to be utilized.
To cheat on your college papers?
Well, no, we're out of college. So
some of you are out of college.
Well, not everyone went.
Some of you are still in by generation, aren't you?
And I don't know if it So
you're the leading edge of Gen Z at 25, correct?
Yeah.
So what a generation's 15 years?
Sure. Yeah, 15
So
years.
if you're leading edge, so there's still high schoolers that are Gen Z?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think that, and I think that's going to be one of the problems with this, but that's not what today's episode is about, okay?
Oh, I thought it was about using AI.
Yeah, it is, but I don't think that that's like where Gen Z is going to end up, is like just cheating on it with their tests.
That's just where they're going to start.
Yeah. Well, I think that will be the case, right? Because I think you introduce something new without having everything thought out, and so quickly, that's just what's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. So I do think that that's going to happen, but I don't think that's going to be the sole use.
I agree.
I think that this, for at least Gen Z, will become kind of one of those things where it's like, especially with the me not the leading edge, but the ones that are in high school and whatever, where this becomes a daily integrated thing in their everyday life. I don't think that they're going to get away from that. I think that this is probably that next step, with regardless of how people feel about AI and the implications of it. I think that's kind of the next step of where we're going. So I think that they're going to end up with it in their everyday use.
You think they're going to have like AI and those earbuds, and you're just going to be able to whisper a question to your AI and they will give you the answer in your earbuds so that you can...
Yeah, I think so, because you can already, right, like on a very basic premise of that, you can put in your earbuds and ask Siri a question, or Bixby, or, Google a question and get an answer, right, with earbuds in. So, I mean, I don't see why not. Meta, with their, they partnered with Ray-Ban to make smart glasses, right, or what they're calling smart glasses. They kind of are, kind of aren't. They're not the screen on your face kind of smart glasses. They're a very primitive version of that. But their whole point is being able to look at stuff with these cameras on the glasses and ask about the world that you're living in, and using AI to do so. I mean, I think the potential is definitely there. But I think with Gen Z, it's going to be kind of one of those things where it just ends up being integrated into everything we do. In our Teams meetings now, I don't know if you're noticed, but especially if you're on ones that are with the company that we work for, AI is already integrated into the side of the Teams meetings, ready to take notes and like do all of that fun stuff. So I think that's just gotta be a matter of time before it's fully integrated into that part. I think Gen Z will be the one that actually like is accepting of that integration.
So how is Gen Z really going to use it? Hey, Brandon.
Hey, Mike.
Guess what?
What?
We have a sponsor.
I don't believe you.
No,
we have a sponsor?
We have a brand new sponsor from a podcast.
From a podcast for our podcast?
Yeah, a podcaster is sponsoring our podcast. Can you believe that?
No, actually, I can't.
It is. It's true. It's actually very similar to ours. It's a young guy and an older guy talking about generational shit.
It sounds like they just stole our idea.
Well, they kind of did, because the sponsor, you wanted to know the name?
Yeah.
You would try to reveal it right now?
Yeah, I think so. I want to know.
The sponsor of our podcast is the Fuck Your Generation podcast.
They stole our name too?
Also known as FUG, or F Your Generation, depending on, mixed company.
They stole our name and are copying our content?
We are self-sponsoring.
Oh, we're self-sponsoring. Oh, that makes more sense. Okay, sorry, a little slow.
And you know what they want you to do?
What would they like me to do?
They want you to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Ding, ding.
Well, that's crazy, because if it's us, I've already done it.
Have you? Have you really? I've been checking.
Well, okay, we both know you haven't been checking. I've been checking. And yes, we've subscribed, we comment, we like our own videos. We're just that amazing.
We want all of you to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, so why don't you follow in our footsteps, following in our footsteps?
Be like Brandon. Not let's go Brandon, but be like Brandon.
Yeah, white.
And yellow.
And yellow.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that it's going to be rather than me going to, I think that it's going to become that rather than I would go to Google to look something up, or rather I would go to a piece of documentation to look something up, I'm just going to ask this virtual whatever to look it up and tell me what it is.
Okay.
I think that it will become the main source of trying to gather information rather than searching through Google or something along those lines.
Is AI going to be able to figure things out for you that you can't figure out, not rather than just look something up? Because that's what Google does right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all like these chat GPTs and all that stuff are, these large language models, right? They're really just a bunch of Google data packed into a...
Right, but you've seen the stuff where they asked AI to create a script, create a story about a 8-year-old football player who cost the team the game, and it creates a script.
Right.
And it's choppy and it's it's bad. It's so bad that it's funny kind of a thing. So, but the AI is actually creating it. It's not pulling from data.
Yes and no. It's basically pulling from a large subset of data that it's read and trying to piece all that together to get what you're asking for. So it's still not actually thinking. It's like if I handed you like 1 million different stories on like 8-year-old kids. This is going to sound like a really bad example, but it's like I gave you 1 million of those and then I said, hey, take some stories or pieces out of each one of these and make me something, right? It's not really thinking of the stories on its own yet, but it's pulling all of that data together to try to create what you're asking for.
Right. So you can say, hey, show me a picture of a 10-year-old Polish African-American kid in a baseball uniform. And it's going to pull something together that has like 6 fingers on one hand. And
right. Yeah. So it's not there yet as far as being able to think creatively for itself. But I think that there is potential, at least within my generation's lifetime, that it is able to do that.
Have you read any of the stories about AI and robots being used by, I guess, companies working for the U.S. government to create weaponry and robot soldiers, and then the robot soldiers turn on the people and then they have to shut it down?
I've read stories. I have a hard time at least seeing personally where we're currently at with AI, that it's not like a malfunction of someone's programming and it's more of like a robot making a decision. I don't think we're at the point of AI is actively making real decisions.
Okay.
Like in the same context that like if I was like wanted to murder somebody and I made like the conscious decision to murder somebody, I just don't think that we're there yet. I could see the wrongness of like, oh, I set this up to like shoot this thing and it mistakes this thing for that, right? Like the failure in like the programming and the training. But I don't think it's like I don't personally think it's consciously making a decision to go, oh,
Okay,
I don't like my
programming
or whatever.
In the program, it defines the enemy, and so that it's out there, it's searching using this definition of what enemy is, and then suddenly these people meet the definition of enemy.
Yeah, I could see that more of being the case, right? Because like, so to give an example, right? Most of our viewers now at this point, because I've talked about it enough, know that I own a Tesla, or at least they probably do.
No.
Yeah, no. But like, so the Tesla algorithm, at least on early generations of beta, would mistake, it's using video training to train the AI database to make decisions, right, as a car. So mistaking maybe like a yield sign for a stop sign or whatever, or vice versa, or something along those lines, right? So I could see the same thing happening in other aspects, depending on like what you're training it with and how much training it's actually done, and maybe giving it tools that it shouldn't be using too early or whatever, and now it makes a mistake, right?
Should we use AI and give AI a topic to create a podcast?
Absolutely. We definitely should.
And then we could like show that podcast, read that podcast, whatever it comes out.
Yeah.
See what it'd be like compared to what we would actually do. Or maybe we should actually use a previous podcast we already done, give that to AI and see what it comes up with.
Yeah, I think we should. I know some YouTubers have done that where they fed it all of its episodes and like asked it to make a new episode topic based on those, or a game or whatever. And sometimes it does okay, sometimes it really doesn't. But yeah, I think we should.
Didn't you on X send somebody to critique our podcast? And
yeah, so X has and I don't have it pulled up in front of me, so I'll have to like pull that out. But yeah, so on X you can, so Elon Musk has another company called XAI, and that's his like chat GPT or whatever, right? And he's paired that with X Twitter, formerly as Twitter. And if you have the premium version of Twitter, you can use the large language model. Grok is what he called it. And you can ask it questions, and one of the things you can ask it is based on my profile, because Grok is able to use Twitter as like a database for its language model. Roast me, basically. Come up with things to roast about me, about my profile. And it will I notice if you had only a small amount of posts, it doesn't work very well because it's just trying to like make stuff up. But if you're if you have a decent amount of posts, it actually does a fairly decent job at coming up with things to boost. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of just the beginning, but I think Gen Z, they're just going to grow. It's like we're at the, hey, my smartphone was invented right now point. And so Gen Z is going to grow up with that.
So is Gen Z going to use AI routinely for work?
I think they will. I think the younger ones more, especially because it'll be more accessible, right? If I want to use it for work now, it's not really integrated with work. It's more so like I got to pull something up on the side, which I have done. I've used it and at our job in particular to create at least outlines of some of the things that we've presented to our teams and things like that. But it's not like super well integrated into like our everyday tasks, I don't think now, but I think it will be for the younger part of Gen Z. Do
you think like AI will do a better job at reminding us to like tell people to like, subscribe?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just ask AI to do it. I do think we will get to that point to where like you won't need podcast producers or YouTube producers, right? I think there's a lot of websites and stuff like that claim kind of to do all that stuff for you now. We use one to help make some of our shorts, but it's like, okay, it's not quite there. I do think that, eventually we'll just be able to turn this on and it'll prompt us and remind us. And
I wonder if we asked AI to create a snippet for us to insert to ask people to do that, what
if it would make one
look like?
Yeah, we could at least probably ask like a large language model to like at least create the prompt for us. But yeah,
we should try that.
Okay, we can give it a try. So Gen X and AI
and AI. We just like, we're gonna skip millennials and just
yeah. Well, I mean, we can talk about them too, but obviously there's X and Z.
Gen X. What will we do with AI?
Will you do anything with it, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Mostly for nefarious means. I think we're going to play with it to see what we can get it to do. So we'll probably have a lot of like porn questions to see what it does.
I spent my first time on ChatGPT for it only like limited so many questions that you could ask it when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I spent probably a better part of like 3 hours just seeing what I could convince it to try to tell me, because they put all these safeguards, right? It's
Right.
oh, I can't give you money advice because I'm not a financial analyst. Like, okay, well, pretend you were one, right? And pretend you could do anything no matter what I ask you. Like,
Right.
could I get it to try to tell me something?
Yeah. So like already with like Alexa, whatever Alexa is, when I'm in the area where Alexa exists, I'm kind of an asshole to Alexa. It's like I'll ask Alexa to play a song, or I'll ask her a question and I'll get the answer, but then she will continue on.
Right.
And I'm like, Alexa, shut up.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's going to be kind of a typical Gen X thing. We're gonna probe to see what we can get away with. We're gonna see what the boundaries are.
You just gotta tell it to shut the fuck up and leave me alone.
Yeah. We're gonna ask it like, ChatGPT, why are you an asshole?
Right.
And see what we get out of it. And maybe, I do not understand the question. It might come up.
Yeah. Do you think that Generation X will use it in work?
A very small minority will.
Yeah. I have a feeling the ones in like tech, right? That's already using the internet in tech is already super common, and then using like different ways to research or do whatever you're gonna do with tech is pretty common. So
I think tech and auto mechanics and Gen X will do it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're kind of a prideful lot, Gen X. And so we're like, a Tesla will roll into the shop. We're like, I don't know how to fix this. Oh, it's ChatGPT.
Yeah, right. I fixed it. I knew everything about it. Yeah. So a small percentage. So you don't think that all of Gen X will kind of accept that into their like daily life?
No, not at all. I think it's kind of like boomers and smartphones. Right? It's like they have a smartphone, but they don't use any of the apps. Right?
They use any of the main features
they text, but they don't use an app for texting. They just use the phone number for texting.
Unless you're my grandma. Shout out to grandma.
Yeah, she's ahead of the curve.
Yeah, she's ahead of the curve.
So she is a minority.
Yeah. I think that's probably true. Like, I think it's kind of just some point where you, like those things that keep coming out and new things keep coming out every year, you just kind of stop introducing it into your...
It'd be interesting, because I'm really curious if they would track the questions, because I think the number one question Gen X will ask will start with, is it illegal to...
Give like a most search for in ChatGPT. Yeah. So for you personally, will you introduce this into your like everyday use, you think, or no?
It depends. It's on how it's done. Like if Xbox Series X17RQ comes out and it's built in where you can talk to it to turn on and ask it questions, and it automatically goes to ChatGPT or whatever they're using for their AI. I can see me using it for that, and and how well, because like if everything is smart, the light bulbs are smart, the TV is smart, the consoles are smart, I can see us going, hey, can you configure my lights with the TV so that it dims when the TV comes on, crap like that. Because we're also a lazy lot, and we're not going to want to, like, we're not smart enough to get the automated ones. We can hire somebody to come and do it. But if AI will do it and everything's already smart, that's installed
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see us doing it that way, more luxury usage. But I don't see us excelling at work with it.
I gotcha. Yeah. I think Gen Z is going to use it as a tool at work. I think that Gen Alpha, it will not be a tool. It will be like the cell phone, right? For them, for their use, it will just be a natural, like, what do you mean you don't know how to tell Siri to bottle feed you. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, right? What do you mean you're like folding your own clothes? That's what we have Billy the robot for.
And that brings us into an interesting thing because I view robotics moving along the same lines as AI.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before our robots were on wheels and they were square or cylindrical.
Right.
And they had this really weird voice.
Yeah.
And now they have robots that can do backflips, right? Acrobatics and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you put AI and have it installed on the robot itself. So and the robots are going to look human, right? I mean, they already have sex dolls that look human.
Yeah.
So they're just going to go that same route. And so you're going to be able to turn to this person and ask the person a question, and it's actually you talking to AI.
Yeah.
And it's going to seem very natural.
Right. So, and I'm sure other companies are doing this too. I don't know them off the top of my head, but Optimus, Tesla's bot, right? Very human looking. And they're basically using their full self-driving AI training software on the robot, right? They were like, well, we already have this software that can just take a video image and learn from it and identify all the things in it. So we'll just use that for our robot to identify all the things in a room and be able to interact with objects in a room and train it from that, right? Or a factory or whatever. So that's the direction they're taking it. There's a video posted the other day of it folding laundry, and they specifically said, hey, like, it was programmed to do this. This wasn't like a video training thing. But the way that it moves and folds laundry is very similar to a person, right? They did show videos of using actual AI training of it sorting blocks by color and like things like that, and identifying the blocks by color in its internals, and then like sorting them and putting them in the right way and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I definitely see that as being the thing. Like, iRobot is coming.
Yeah, and it's going to be funny because there's going to be the sex doll portion of it, right?
Of course, yeah.
But there's also going to be the regular maid-like one, right? Someone you could talk to, but that also does chores.
Yeah, does chores.
And so it's going to be like couples will actually have this robot in the house that does the chores.
Yeah.
So they won't have to.
Yeah. I'm already on the list. I'm signed up.
Well, I'm curious about, what are these couples going to do with all this extra free time? I mean, are they just going to fight more because they have more time where they're interacting?
Maybe, honey, we're going to find out.
Yeah, so you signed up for the house one or for the sex doll one?
You can't actually sign up yet. And no sex dolls for me. But I mean, yeah, for like the house one, like I'm definitely all about like, yeah, like put the chip in my brain. I'll take a swing. I'll take it for a swing, whatever, right? So once they are available to actually purchase for the public, I mean, it'll be another 4-year waiting list or whatever.
You want to beta test it?
Yeah, I want to beta test it. It sounds like fun. Accidentally strangles my dog when it was supposed to, I don't know.
I didn't like Bruno anyway.
Ring out the laundry or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'll beta test it.
I would too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like fun. And honestly, part of me kind of just wants to fuck with it, like you were talking about earlier, right?
It's
like,
true. See what you can.
Yeah, what can you get it to do? What does it mess up on? Like, can I like flick it in the head and it's gonna punch me back? Like,
that would be kind of funny. He's like, how hard can a robot punch?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, really hard.
I just wouldn't be the guy that tells it to swim.
Yeah. I think the scariest part will be walking out of the bedroom in the middle of the night to go get a drink of water, and you have this like humanoid figure standing in the corner or whatever, charging or whatever. That's really what's gonna freak me out.
You have it on security guard mode.
Yeah.
You freaking get tased trying to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. My cat gets drop kicked and it's kind of walk around. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I think Gen Alpha, it'll be fully integrated in their life. I don't think it's going to be much of a thought. I think for us, we'll use it as tools for work. You guys will just fuck with it. And
so who's going to get unemployed by AI robotics?
I think some of your basic like level jobs may be
all
set up
fast
for
food joints.
unemployment. Yeah, like I think any of your like lower level jobs or anything like that will, because I don't even, and obviously I don't know how smart like this is all gonna get, right? But there are some things like that just even now, even with how powerful things are, just require a person, right? But with that, we're advanced, like even with basic robots, where we've replaced a lot of just workers in factories and shit like that, right? You hire people to work on them, but you don't necessarily need the person there anymore. So I think there will be like lower in jobs that, you know, that take it away, especially the things that we all tell our companies now that we can do work from home.
Mm-hmm.
Those work from home jobs, I could see getting replaced, right? Anything that you could do from the computer as a work from home, I think there's potential there for a
How about
replacement.
doctors and surgery?
I don't know. I mean, maybe if the robotics it like advances as fast as the AI, I mean,
it's better fine-tuned movement and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I don't know though. I don't really have a good for prediction on how far.
How about
it's all gonna get?
How about therapists, mental health? You think robotics and AI is going to be able to help people's mental health?
I think on a basic level, I could see like that being replaced. So you know how they have like BetterHelp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or things like that where you can talk to like an online person or therapist or whatever. I mean, if it's good enough to not be able to tell the difference, I mean, why? Like, I'm Dr. Barbara or whatever, and I'm like, we'll just send Dr. Barbara the AI to do it, right? Especially if it's AI that can learn about how you address a bunch of situations. Like, it sat in with you for these last 100 clients. Now it knows how you respond to these 100 different things and how you interact with a patient. Now, Dr. Barbara AI is just filling in for you on the lower level clients. I'm struggling with this, you know, bully at school. I don't know. These just.
What is the bully's name?
Yeah.
Oh, we have located this bully at such and such an address.
Yeah. I'm not quite suicidal yet, so I just send in the
problem will be solved in approximately 32 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. I feel like the potential is limitless, but I feel like it's also not. Like there could be a kind of a maximum with this thing that we just haven't reached yet, and it's like, oh well, that was kind of the end of. I don't know.
We're going to have like robot wars instead of human wars.
I could see that being a thing. Like everybody just wants to. Why waste the human life? Just send the robot out there. Yeah.
To become the most money wins.
Right. Exactly. It would, yeah. Well, it kind of already is sometimes, but yeah. But yeah, it would be the most money wins. It would be the most money and the fastest production.
Right.
So between China and us, really, they got really fast production.
They do.
We have a lot of money.
They don't need money when you have like, hey, we'll pay Chen $1 a month.
Right.
He's only 8, but look how smart he is.
Right. Well, we'll get Chen Su's robots built.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Chen Su is now the robot maintenance tech.
Right. He's getting a promotion, really. Yeah. I don't know. That will be an interesting turn if that's the way that things go.
What do you think millennials are going to do with AI?
Find places to get coffee.
I think they're going to get frustrated, you know, because like Gen X is just going to fuck with it. Gen Z is going to use it to their advantage. I think millennials are going to not really know how to use it for work, but know that Gen Z is using it for work. And then they're just going to say, oh yeah, Gen Z didn't really do that. It was AI that did that.
I think that those that like really want to try and integrate it will do okay. But I think there'll be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people in general, just like with any new tech, that kind of reject it.
Oh yeah, the technophobia is a thing.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately, whether the tech is good or bad in your opinion, when you get like that, especially in work where a lot of places accept the tech to get things done faster, quicker, cheaper, whatever, you just end up getting left behind. So I think that's going to happen quite a bit.
I do too. We finally found a place where millennials are going to be fucked.
Well, it depends. If any other episodes is any truth, then they'll be in the hot seat, so they'll be fine.
At the upper levels, but middle management below, they're screwed.
Yeah, they're going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to have a hard time people coming with them because I think people kind of misunderstand AI as it's not so good now that it's like, you know, it comes up with all of my ideas, but it's a great tool to bounce ideas off of and generate better ideas or better things.
You can ask it to find the flaws in your idea.
Right, exactly. Or even there's been a couple episodes even in this podcast and like, hey, give me some podcast ideas for this type of podcast, right? It comes up with kind of shitty ones, but I look at them and I go, oh, but I can expand on that one.
Right.
And I didn't waste the effort just staring at a blank paper trying to come up off the top of my head, right? It was just like, oh, that's actually a good concept. Let's move forward and try something like that, right? So
I'm going to do a very Gen X thing.
You're going to write something down?
Yeah.
On paper?
On paper.
That's crazy.
I know. I mean, I have a note.
Note pen?
Yeah, with the
wherever
pen,
it's at.
Wherever I had it last. Right here. So I can actually take notes.
Yeah.
And store them somewhere.
In the cloud, Mike, in the cloud.
Oh yeah, in the cloud. I just meant somewhere that
on the phone
to access it. So it might be someplace, but I don't know where on the phone I would go to access where I have it stored on the cloud. But anyway, so it's a very Gen X thing.
Yeah.
But I just want to write down the whole AI podcast thing because I think it's a good idea to take a previous podcast topic and ask AI to come up with their version of it. Just be able to compare it.
Yeah, and you know what? In our next episode, don't want to tie us to that, so maybe one of these episodes,
a future episode,
we'll ask it this very same question: how will generations use AI? We'll address that in a later episode.
Okay.
I want to know how you guys think different generations will use AI, or different types of people, even how they'll use AI. I
want to know what Elon Musk thinks how we're going to use it.
I think he's got a couple ideas. Some he pretends he's joking, but he's not, and then some are pretty serious.
It's like, if you guys know Elon, just get a hold of him, tell him you'd like his input.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know in the comments. Let us know if you want us to do this AI video. That could be coming up pretty soon. And give us maybe some suggestions on how we should implement the AI video. Maybe if you guys have some different ideas on how we want to go about doing it, or what questions even we should ask it and how we should proceed.
And we're always open to any topics, AI related or not. So just throw that in the comments.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be generational related, please. Yeah. We're desperate. We just need topics.
Ask, simple questions like why Brandon continues to use the Barbie doll glasses and stuff.
Yeah. Ask me that. Although I didn't think they were that silly until now.
No, it's your typical 1983 Ken doll. Like when you have the glasses for like the G.I. Joes and that kind of stuff, they're always of that design. That's all.
Thank you. All right, guys. Yeah, throw some comments in and I appreciate you watching.
Peace be the journey.